It is June the 13th, 2026. I'm Chris, and this is the future of photography.
The future of photography.
Adrian, how are you doing today?
I'm very well, sir. Very well indeed. Thank you. How are you?
Very good. Very good. Me too. The people in, where is it, Cupertino? I think it's in Cupertino, so. Right? Have spoken, have shown us things as they do around this time of year. I think always in the same 1 or 2 weeks. We're of course talking about Apple. They have announced, well, they have done the keynote at their Worldwide Developer Conference, the WWDC, and they have announced a lot of things, a lot of AI, a lot of new stuff coming, and some of that is about photography.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to have a look at those, have a think about them, ask, is it good? Is it bad? Should you care? Do you care? And what does all this mean for the future of photography?
That was my basic question. What does it really mean with all the changes that we're seeing in photography, rapid changes in how tools work? But yeah, let's look at a few things. And I would like to pick out just 3 things that they talked about that is going to be in iOS 27. They announced it. It's not there yet. Well, it's there for some beta testers, but 3 features. The first one is cleanup. Cleanup is already in there. If you have an iPhone, you already have that. I'm pretty sure Android has that too, where you can just take out that cigarette butt or that thing in the background, something simple, or the bird in the sky that's not looking nice. Just tap that and it goes away. That one is getting an upgrade.
I think I've ever used that.
Oh, I have used that.
Have you?
I have used that. It's interesting because I'm on an iPhone 16 Pro, so that's now a generation back. And starting that cleanup tool in the Photos app, it's part of the Photos app. It takes, when you start it for the first time, it takes like 5 to 10 seconds to boot up. I think it's loading an LLM or something, a model to something like that. And then you can just tap or swipe over something and it goes away. Most of the time it works quite well. It's an AI feature. So
maybe that's why I don't use it then, because I'm still on a 13 mini.
That probably doesn't do that.
Yeah.
It probably doesn't do that. And I only use that in extreme cases. I mean, there's just a few cases of I've probably used that in the last year, maybe 10 times. So new cleanup coming, getting better at removing things, as in take those 2 people out of my photo. That was an example. And of course it has to, whenever it takes something out, it has to create what would have been there. So it needs to fill in that now empty spot, and it's better at that, or it will be better at that, and so on. So larger areas of the image can be.
Is it good to have that built into the standard Photos app? I mean, I have what used to be called Touch Retouch, which I think is just called Retouch these days, which is an app I've had for donkey's years, right? So
where would you put it if not there?
No, is it nice to have it, as accessible right in the Photos editing suite? Because I have to open my photos in a different app to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, it is nice. It is helpful. It has helped me, as I said, about 10 times. So that is cool. Second feature is the extend feature, which if you've followed the whole generative AI generative images, DALL-E stuff, and so on, then that has been around for a couple of years now. And it basically lets you, extend the image. If you have something that you frame too tightly and you want to, rotate it and you would lose too much of the image, then you can just add space around the edges. And it fills it in. It generates whatever is there or is not there. should be there.
Should be there. I would really like this, right? So for me, sometimes when you spend a lot of effort, getting the composition just right. Let's say it's a photo of a person and you're trying to fill the frame with, or whatever it is. And then you get it back on your computer and you notice that the horizon line is wonky in the background. So then you crop it, then you rotate it to get the horizon line straight, and suddenly, you've lost the nice little bit of space you had around that person's head or whatever it is. I would quite like that. This is something that I would definitely use.
Yeah, extend, and I don't think it goes that far. I think there's like 10, 20, maybe 25%, just a little bit, but enough. And depending on the surroundings of the subject, it might be better or worse, but it should do the job. These models have been able to do that for a while. I'd
love to play with this. Right? I'd love to write a shortcut that just iterates that half a dozen times.
That's what people have done in the past. They have made
what happens.
They have made these zoom out movies out of the reframing, as in just keep doing it and feed the resulting picture in it. I'm not sure if Apple allows you to do that, but anyway, might be interesting. Might be interesting to see what the AI hallucinates for you, because that's a hallucination, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's just like, if you do it enough times, do you end up with a fractal pattern, or do you end up with
I think
some rogue seagull, or or I don't know, the Eiffel Tower or something like that? That would be really cool. Do you know what reminds me? Complete tangent, but one of my favorite. Actually, this is really niche, but one of my favorite ever cartographic jokes. Right? You like a good map, don't you?
Oh, totally.
So this is what one, I think it was my father-in-law that sent it to me some years ago. And you're aware of, I forget his first name, but Mercator, the fella that did the projection
the map,
the world map that we all use, that Google uses, and that famously has Greenland almost the size of Africa, which is completely incorrect on a globe. But of course, the Mercator projection, as it's known, was optimized for people drawing lines to navigate across the sea and being able to draw straight lines instead of arcs. And that's what the purpose of that projection was. I told you it was a tangent. One of my favorite ever cartographic jokes was a portrait of Mercator, but it was all stretched out at the sides and the top of the bottom, and it made his head look really, really funny. See, I could do that. It's something like that. Imagine if you had this extend and you could write a shortcut that says iterate it half a dozen times, but use the Mercator projection and see what happens. I'd just like to play with that.
I'm more of a map nerd than you would think, because my favorite projection is the Winkle triple projection. Look that up.
Is that the one that's three oval shapes that link together?
No, it's not. But it's one that is much more proportional, where Greenland is quite as exaggerated compared to Africa. Which is interesting. Mercator projection, you can get so much into Africa. Like half of the planet fits into Africa, pretty much.
Yeah. Yes.
So
I have to say, my favorite projection is a globe, but for a flat one, I like lots
of flat globe.
Yes,
that's where the problem comes. Anyway, third and last.
Maybe we should start a maps podcast. But.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Last feature that we want to talk about here is called Reframe. That's the one that I think had the most impressive demo. Also, that made me ask the most questions. So what does it do? Just imagine you have a picture. You take a picture. You come home. I don't know. It's not taken from the spot that you should have taken it, so the background is in the wrong place. Something grows out of someone's head. And had you noticed, you would have, during taking of the picture, just moved a step to the side and fixed it before you took the picture. This lets you fix that after you took the picture, which means you can change the perspective. You can change the direction from which you look at the subject. So what it is supposed to do is it derives the depth from the image and will then allow you to move around as if you were in 3D space. A little bit at least, right? Is that fair enough?
Okay. Yeah, it's certainly that describes quite nicely the demo that I saw, yeah.
Yeah, you've seen the demo that they had in the keynote, right?
Yeah.
Quite impressive demo, and then I listened to the Accidental Tech podcast, and they always talk about things like that. So they looked at at all these demos, and then John Siracusa, one of the three, had the following to say. Let me play that for you.
Well, it being upsetting to people is just like, oh, don't take your photos and like AI generate stuff on them and just like let the photos be what they are. But here's my take on it, which is, I guess, perhaps even more cynical. And that is that no feature can make people care about framing photos. That's my take. Like the idea that people can look at a photo and detect in any way that it is poorly framed, I think is false. I know this from every other person who's not a photographer in my life. They take photos that are incredibly poorly framed and they do not care. Not only do they not care, they can't tell. They can't distinguish a well-framed photo from a not well-framed one. They don't care that their photos are badly framed. They don't care that people have a pole coming out of their head. They don't care that it's 98% background that no one cares about. They don't care that it's shot up at an unflattering angle. Like, for the exception of like people taking selfies where they're trying to make themselves look hot or whatever, for the most part, when people take pictures in groups, I cannot convince anybody in my life to care how photos are framed. Now, it's great that this picture says like, oh, let you reframe it, like you said, Casey, like virtually change where the person might have been standing so that the pole isn't coming out of the top of their head, because if you took it from 2 feet to the left, the pole would be off to the side of them. But just getting people to understand that it's bad to have a pole coming out of your head in the picture is insane. Now, you know what the main thing that can make your pictures better with respect to framing is? It's called cropping, and it has existed for the life of the iPhone. Nobody does it because they do not know that their pictures are poorly framed. Cropping is the number one thing you can do to your picture. Again, extending if you actually got it too close, that you can extend now. So that's a cool AI feature. But most of the time, people make the opposite mistake. There's too much background. You're not centered. The camera is tilted. Blah blah blah, and people don't care. So I think extend is the best feature here. Cleanup is the second best. Reframe is a little bit silly and is going to make people ruin their pictures a little bit. But here's the thing, because people don't care about how pictures are framed, if you show them that, they're like, oh, that's cool. And if they think about it for 2 seconds, they'll be like, well, how does it even do that? But I don't see them driven to use the feature because like it's not solving a problem they have. They're like, well, it's neat that you can do that. And I get how it's kind of like amazing in future because how does it know what's behind my head? They can't see it. Oh, it's making it up with the computer. That's amazing. But the question they would ask is, but why would I ever want to do this? I can already crop. I can already extend. I could see why I might want to use those if I ever wanted to touch my photos at all. So yeah, I think Reframe, I know they're excited about it and it's the coolest tech, but I think Cleanup and Extend are the highlight features.
All right, John Siracusa. Quite a direct take.
I've listened to that 3 or 4 times now, and I'm still laughing every time I hear it because I don't think it's cynical. I think it's pragmatic. I think it's pretty astute, right? This is the trade-off that comes with the democratization of photography that we like to talk about on this show, right? Which is that it's a fantastic thing that everybody can do photography, but getting people to care. I have a member of my extended family who shall remain absolutely nameless, but this person never ever cleans the lens of their phone. And so whenever they share photos, they are always really misty and foggy because the lens is just covered in, I don't know, grease, I guess.
Fingerprints, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know these kinds of people too. So for me, my example that most people don't really care about how the photo looks and care more about what's in the photo is my mother. She's a decent photographer after she was on one of my workshops. She now knows that if she has an online cookbook. So if she wants to take a picture of some food to put in there, she now knows get closer. That's a rule, right? Get closer. Don't include too much of the table. The food is important. Feel free to get so close that you cut something off. It's usually better. So very, very simple rules. She does it. Looks good. She doesn't really know why she's supposed to do it, but she knows that that helps, and it does. The example is that my sister sent her a photo attached to an email of her grandkids, and she printed that. Well, first of all, the photo didn't have good resolution because the mail thing just downsized it to be able to send it. So the resolution was already bad, and then she just threw that on her office printer, like an office paper with a inkjet printer. No contrast, no. It's also, from a framing point of view, it's not an interesting picture. It's up on her wall. It's been there for years. It doesn't matter. She loves the picture because who's on there? The people who are on there. So I think John might have a point there. Yeah, I think John might have a point there. Most people do not care about that pole, that lamppost coming out of your head, or that it's, most people don't really care. I see this in the audio field. I mean, so many TVs who have such horrible settings on their speakers, and people don't care, and you can hardly understand what people are saying on TV. But it doesn't matter,
this is really interesting to me because it's Apple that's doing it, right? So there are some, and I forget who coined the phrase, but there are some commentators on the Apple world that say Apple build things for 99% of the people to work 99% of the time, right? And this feels like one of those that is not really built for 99% of the people, if they're not going to notice. So I'm not saying that it speaks of a strategy to appeal to hardcore photographers, because that's clearly not who Apple developed their camera app for, right? So I'm not suggesting that there's that going on. But it is a slightly odd one. The ability to clean something up, the ability to extend something, those you could see appealing to people on a day-to-day basis. The ability to reframe, no, possibly, I don't know. Well, we'll see. I guess the proof of it will be, when we get access to it. Although I don't think we will we?
Well, let's see when it comes. But the interesting thought here I had was maybe people do care, but they don't know it. As in the picture with the pole compared to the picture that doesn't have the pole coming out of your head. They will know this one's better. They won't be able to tell you why. So they're missing the vocabulary or the ability to see it. They can just feel it. Also, another thought was tools can create awareness, right? You have a tool that you didn't have before, and you might accidentally tap that button and be able to move around the picture and go, oh, look, that's interesting. Maybe people will learn by having the tool. They just didn't know before that might be something they might care about because they just didn't know that was even an option, possibly.
I wonder if there's somebody's going to build an application that will do something like, okay, so you take a photo and then they say, right, now go take 3 steps to the left, go take 3 steps to the right, and then fold that all into the ability to change things, because then you'll have I was going to say binocular vision, but if you've got 3 photos, clearly it's trinocular vision, and as opposed to binocular vision, right? So, and then you'd be able to do all sorts of depth mapping, and well, not really, because you'd have to make sure you knew where the photos were taken from, so you'd need very specific location tracking. But you'd be able to give some estimates into that process of reframing, and you'd be able to color in the background, as it were, in a more precise, less inventive way. But it's a thing, it's a thing. we'll see.
And last but not least, about this feature, developers now have access to iOS 27 beta with that feature. And all I've heard so far about it is that, it looks quite synthetic. It doesn't really look that good anyway. So maybe, I don't know if that's just an early version and they're still improving on that. There's a chance for that. But right now, I don't even think that's a feature that people will enjoy because it looks weird. So we'll see. I found it interesting to look at it from that angle.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm struggling. I'm struggling a little bit to get excited about this year's major announcements on that sort of thing. It's been I think this is the year. Yeah, they say is the quiet year, right? Where they're doing just a bunch of in the background sort of quality of life improvements to the operating systems and things like that, rather than some big headline features. Except for, of course, the Siri AI, which is this year's
AI
hero
everywhere.
announcement. The rest of the stuff is the stuff that we get as photographers is perhaps a little bit just. What we in the software world would call technical debt, maybe, or some lower priority tickets that were lurking at the bottom of the board, right?
I'm here for it. I'm totally here for it. I'm just there's so many little bugs here and there and things that could have been optimized long ago. So I'm a little bit smoother, better. That's good.
Yeah. Those were not the only announcements, of course. There were a bunch of others, right? We now can do a visual search like Google can do, or we will be able to, using Siri AI. There's some stuff. In
that was promised. That was promised a couple of years ago already. Never materialized. So, you mean visual search, as in show me pictures of Adrian riding a motorbike?
Oh, there's some of that, but I think it's more sort of, it says sort of like a circle to search thing from Google. So it's like point your camera at something and then, but I mean, now that Siri AI is actually Google, or at least,
true.
Or what I guess they would say fine-tuned or tuned Google models are underpinning Siri from now on. Although not for you. Because you won't get them. I don't know whether I'll get them or not, because you're in the EU.
Yep.
And they're not going to be released for the EU just at this point in time. I don't know whether we still get tagged here in the UK as EU for stuff like that. Sometimes it's a bit of a grey area as to whether we get things or whether we don't. When they say EU, clearly in some ways they mean the regulatory body, because it is the European Union regulations that set or that constrain them from releasing these functions. But sometimes I think the American view of what's in the EU and what's not in the EU is a bit of a grey area sometimes for some of the Americans, I think. So we'll see. So, but I was glad now that we get some more iCloud photo album stuff, full resolution photos. That will make a difference in my household, where we've and I've had for years. Shared photo albums in the on our phones, especially for when we go on family holidays and things like that. And sometimes you want to say, I'll save that one, or I want to print it out, and then I'll realize it wasn't me that took it in the first place and the resolution isn't there and stuff like that. So that's a genuinely welcome quality of life improvement for me. That will actually make a difference. At some small level, right? It will actually make a difference in my life. I'm not massively concerned about image generation, image playground or whatever that's being called now.
They're making that one better and less cartoony and so on. So you have more options. But again, nothing to do with photography. So for me, I think the novelty of image generation has gone for me most of the time. So it's more of it's a tool, but in most cases, photography. I do photography for other reasons.
I dare you to say that when Jeremiah is with us recording a show. He's still very much into image generation, so
it's totally fine, but it's clearly not photography, right? And
absolutely, yeah.
Photography is a different beast. I see this on every workshop. We never really talk about image generation. We talk about capturing what's there, capturing an emotion, evoking an emotion, telling stories, and so on. With photography. So anyway, what else?
Well, here's one that's going away. So support for Intel-based Macs is being withdrawn. Now that's it's not going to impact me in any way, and I'm reasonably confident it's not going to impact you.
Me neither.
I think I only have one Intel-based Mac left, and it's the really old. Remember the tiny little? I think you had one, the MacBook Air, like the 11-inch MacBook Air.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, was amazing form factor. Yeah,
it was an amazing form factor. Still have one of those in a cupboard. Haven't used it in some time, but of course, it's been out of support for a long time, so it can't run anywhere near current operating systems, let alone future ones. So it's not going to impact me, but I do have still as my main personal computer an M1, which is what I'm using to talk to you right now. So I wonder how long it is before the M1 Macs go out of support. That's interesting question, maybe.
I mean, you won't be able to use the newer AI features for sure. Processor, memory, and so on is not there.
I don't think there's a single device in our household that could use any of this stuff that's been announced this week.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, it hasn't been fully clarified what will run on their what they call the private compute cloud. So I know some of the local models won't be able to run on my iPhone, for example, which is mostly the dictation and the text-to-speech, the new voices, that kind of stuff. I can't have that because that needs to run on your device. My understanding at this point is that most of the other stuff will run on the Apple Cloud, and you might have there will apparently be some level of free access to the models, but then if you want more, because it runs on their systems, you'd have to have one of those iCloud Plus subscriptions.
Do you know what that is one of the features that I actually find quite compelling. The local model that will handle your dictation for you.
Oh, I certainly want Siri to be better at understanding what I say, because since Whisper was released, it became so obvious how bad Siri is. Just understanding.
And there's lots of stuff you can do now. So I have WhisperFlow. It's a bit clunky on the phone because of some operating system constraints, but on my Mac, WhisperFlow is amazing, and you find it's much more useful because I'm interacting with AIs now more when I'm doing my AI work, and it's a really natural way to interact with AIs. It's not the way I particularly interact with. Emails or text messages or text messages to a little bit if they are informal, like a WhatsApp or whatever. But it's really handy to just be able to ramble into the computer and have that all translated into something that your AI can do. So Whisper,
and
I really
cleaned
like.
up, yes.
Yeah, WhisperFlow, I should say, I really like. And I have now as well built on my phone a shortcut where I have a shortcut icon on my home screen. I press it and it takes an audio recording and then it sends that off to Claude for processing and cleaning up, and then emails it to me at whatever at both personal and work email accounts, so that if I have a thought as I'm walking along, I can literally just speak into my phone, and by the time I get back to wherever I need to be, it's there sitting waiting for me in my inbox. Now that's really cool, except it doesn't work if you've got no signal. because the Claude thing, of
because
course,
it uses their API. Yes, of course,
it's in the cloud. I mean, that would be the same for Whisperflow or any other AI related thing at the moment. And so, if you're traveling, when this would be useful, like on a train or somewhere, very often you don't have sufficient signal to do it. But so having dictation that is processed by an AI model on my phone, actually, I would find a really compelling capability to have.
I believe you can already do some of that. There's Whisper. There's Whisper available in apps on your phone, locally running on your phone. There's also LLMs, like the newest Gemma models by Google that run on your phone. So you can cobble something together if you know how.
Something to look at then.
That would run on your phone entirely, but not fast at the moment. So anyway,
yeah, especially on an old phone. Yes.
Anyway, so yeah, that's the WWDC Apple kind of thing, photography wise. Yeah, okay. Let's play with the tools. At this point, it feels like it's just a couple more tools, and I don't mind tools. I like playing with things, and I like having options. So why not? If it runs on my phone at all, it won't come to here to the EU anyway for at least a few months after it's being released.
For a while.
Yeah. So yeah, it's okay. I'm quite happy with what I have right now. All right. Do we have anything else, or do we go on to the picks of the week?
Picks of the week, I think.
All right. So I can't see yours, but I'm opening mine as we speak, which is a video about, well, the channel is called Alpha Phoenix. And let me bring this up on the screen. Alpha Phoenix, and this guy has made a camera that shoots 2 billion frames a second. So he did that before with 1 billion frames a second, and now he's doing it with 2 billion frames. So he does it in his garage, and he shows you the propagation of light, the laser bouncing back and forth between two mirrors. And this is a very nerdy topic. How do you do this with stuff that you have access to as a regular person? So he's in electronics. He understands that stuff. What he's doing, just again, if you're really nerdy, hey, watch that video. In general, he's doing that with a camera that can see single photons and only 1 pixel. Okay, so you're laughing.
I'm not. It's just amazing. It's just amazing.
So it's one pixel that he can detect. 1 photon. There's a light amplifier tube in the thing. There's a oscilloscope that then reads the output from that, and there's 1 pixel. So he fires a laser, and then he records what comes back from that laser, and at 1 pixel. Then it fires it again. Now that pixel, that camera goes over a mirror. That mirror is movable, so he uses that to scan his wall. So he fires off that laser like 3,000 times a second. He records that 3,000 times, and every time he moves that mirror a little bit. So he puts all these pixels together. Timing is really important. And then he puts all these pixels together into a video. That's as easy. It's a weird contraption, but it's just amazing to see this work. He improved on his last design by having a more fine-grained control of the mirror. He's pretty much doing this in 720p in HD now. So it takes a while. It uses that trick by just firing that laser over and over and over again and recording the next slice of that light propagation and then the next slice and so on. But when it puts it together, you end up seeing that laser bouncing back and forth between two mirrors.
Which is quite incredible.
It's just amazing.
So if I understand that correctly, that's actually showing the path, but that path is building. That wasn't a laser on and then off again because the speed of light is very fast. That was actually showing the light moving, the photon moving. Right?
The actual photons moving. Correct?
Yeah.
Well, yes and no. What he does is, of course, in order to see light, you have to have it be diffused somehow. So he fills the room with mist.
Sorry, understood. But that line was moving, right? So that's actually tracking. Yeah, that's actually tracking the speed of the light, right?
That's exactly what it's doing. Yes,
which is
just seeing that. just very astonishing. Also to see how it then ends up on the wall, and he has another example where he's firing that laser at a disco ball, and that disco ball, then you see the light rays coming out from the disco ball, and then they hit the walls, and so yeah,
amazing, lovely,
very very amazing. If you're nerdy enough, go and check the video, and you might get a kick out of that. I certainly did.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
That's
okay.
That's my.
I do now have a pick of the week. Hastily pasted into our note that because I hadn't brought one with me, but it relates back to our conversation about maps earlier in the show. And this is a great Reddit, a subreddit called Terrible Maps, which is. It's just a great thing. It's one that I've been aware of for years. These sorts of things get posted on lots of social media platforms and stuff like that as well. But it's all good. Yeah, I'm just scrolling down it. Right?
Remove the worst half of England, round 1. Interesting.
Well, yes. Remove the worst half.
This is fun. I like these kind of games. I totally like these kind of collections of things.
Games,
the world is a cat. Oh yeah, this is good.
The world is a cat. Yeah. So good stuff. There's all sorts of things. There always are lots of fresh ideas and things like that. Lots of repetition as well. But for anybody that's got any love of maps, then this is a rabbit hole you can dive into with joy.
I still like this. I'm pretty sure it's somewhere in there. The map that shows you Africa and then lots of countries, including in the entire USA and other places, cut out and overlaid over Africa, and you quickly realize how big that continent is.
Yeah. It's amazing when you play with stuff like that. It's like when you spin the globe. You can do this with a real world globe, or you can do it with Google Earth. The Pacific Ocean is half the surface area of the globe.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And
yes, it is.
You just think that because of course that you don't see that on a 2-dimensional map because it's the Pacific Ocean, especially on most map projections that have Africa broadly centered in the middle. The bit between the USA on the far left and wrap round to, I don't know, let's say Japan, New Zealand, Australia on the far right, there's whole swathes cut out of a map like that are the Pacific Ocean. You never get a feel by looking at a map like that for just how much the Pacific Ocean, what proportion of the Earth's surface it takes up. So
you and I have grown up at a time where it was kind of usual to have a globe in the home, right? Like an actual globe that you could spin around and look at things on. That's a lost thing. We don't have these anymore, do we?
So do you know what? We don't have one in our house right now. No. That's remiss of me. I'm a bad parent, clearly.
I mean, there are two things from my childhood that have informed some of of my knowledge about the world. One was a globe, and the other was a microscope. These two things, these two things have really changed my understanding of the world. So I think kids should have both. A cheap microscope. You can get these USB microscopes. These $20 for something like that.
Why does a microscope have to be electronic? Why can't you just have a microscope?
Because the kids have a phone and they can plug it in and they can take it with them, and it's that's the way we do these things today. Add an actual globe. Get one of these things that you put that you take in the water. They have globes, right? Good enough to give you an idea.
Beach
if they printed the right countries on them.
Well, and occasionally they'll go out of date as well, I suppose. So there is always that. But I do let me ask you this question then. When you look at Google Maps, do you have it and you zoom out, do you have it in globe view or flat view?
Google Maps, if I zoom out all the way,
it's a setting on Google Maps, and it's not the default setting either, but it's one that I found some years ago. And
wait.
Zoom all the way out. See what setting you have.
I do. I'll show you. Here we go. Here's my Google Maps. Zooming out, and it's a globe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go.
But it's not a real... Look how big that ocean is.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. And the weird time zones on it as well, but yes.
That's completely a different story. But yeah, another rabbit hole to dive into. Yeah, there we go. Here's our globe, but it's not a real globe. You need to be able to touch it, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Anyway, I guess that's it for today. Lots of tangents. I love this. We'll be back soon with more. You can find us at thefutureofphotography.com on your favorite podcast listening tool, device, platform. Join us on our Discord. Links are in the show notes. And we want to hear from you. Until next time, everyone, take care and bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to The Future of Photography. Join the discussion on our Discord, find the show notes and all episodes at thefutureofphotography.com, and subscribe wherever you listen to audio.